everyone to the Hit and Sit Show, episode number 23, live on Facebook and YouTube. Myself, David Bear, pitcher for Siteman Pure. I'm taking over here a little bit for the esteemed David Garland. Unfortunately, he's had a few time commitments. He can't really continue hosting, but I'm going to be the interim host for today. We do have several things to go over today, a lot of that revolving around the Challenge Cup. We've got a good panel of guests here, a couple of world champs, we got one Challenge Cup champ here. So I'm going to introduce our table as we go around. Of course, we have Dale Weiser of ConferenceUSSSA.com, the most knowledgeable man in slow pitch softball, it seems like. You have Josh Kirsten, who swings Suncoast, played with Team Ohio in the Challenge Cup. He's with MPT Juneau this year. We have Randy Fredericks, swinging Pure, who's playing with Bay Area this year, who is with Team Louisiana, Mississippi. Kind of a last-minute ad, but thank you for joining us, Randy. Brian Zirkle, swinging Anarchy, played with Team Florida down at the Challenge Cup and with competitive edge throughout the year. We're going to get you through the episode today, going through a few things. First and foremost, DW, we want to talk about things about the Challenge Cup here. There were several things down there, like the weather, the ball, obviously a big topic. Was there any behind-the-scenes things that just kind of went really well, went bad, anything like that? And just how was the overall atmosphere at this Challenge Cup, being I believe it's the 5th annual?
All right, so I covered the major division, which was mainly in the stadium, but the weather this year, better than last year. It was freezing cold last year. This year, in the morning Friday and the evening Friday got a little cold, but the afternoon was good, and then the weather got better as the weekend went on. They used the Dudley Stadium ZN ball. It was a good batch, no complaints. Ball flew. We had, I think, one team used their limit at least 16 home runs on the baseball fields, which were 325 down the lines, 365 to the gaps, 385 to center. I had trouble. I was working on getting announcers. I ended up announcing 7 games myself because the players were they were either playing, getting ready to play, trying to get some food. So there was kind of a 4-hour cycle where every team was playing all the time. So a little bit tough getting the announcers. The atmosphere was good. The stadium Saturday night got cooking a little bit. I heard in the backfields it was crazy with some of the games in the lower divisions. But if you can share my screen, I'm going to quickly go through a slideshow, and then we'll get on with the rest of the show. Here is the Challenge Cup gold medals. They went to the winning teams. Brian Zirkle's joining us today, so I threw a picture of it. I didn't get Randy Frederick because he came on at the last second, but here's the Challenge Cup men's major division. Ohio, Louisiana, Florida, the favorite, finished 3rd. Tennessee had a nice run at 4th, and another favorite, Texas, was 5th. So Ohio, we'll get into that with Kirsten here in a few minutes, but a great run. They were 7-0. Quick shot of the bracket. Kirsten, maybe you can touch on how you scored 48 runs in one game. Did you use your home run limit?
No, not close.
No? 48?
I think we hit 10.
10. That game was on the backfield, Red Marucci. But there's their run. They ended up Florida. Losers bracket. New Mexico made a nice run. They were a fan favorite. Louisiana come up out of the loser bracket on Saturday night and Sunday morning to finish 2nd. Picture of Team Ohio. I'm wearing the Team Ohio jerseys. Thanks to Tom for giving me one of those. Appreciate that. The all-tournament team, our own man Kirsten was on there. Zirkle, I think, was on there, right?
Yep.
All-tournament. Yeah, here's your all-tournament. They didn't choose, I guess they just wanted all-stars. They didn't want MVP, defensive MVP in that. I guess they never picked that for Challenge Cup. But you can see pretty much a who's who of upper-level softball, both Pearsons, John Dabrowski, the pitcher from Ohio, Tyler Irvine, some big hitters on there. Women's, Florida, not a surprise, beat Kentucky, Arizona, Michigan in the top 4. That's the women's major division. Here's the Florida women's team. loaded with conference major players. Men's B also won by Ohio, South Texas, Florida, Northern California. Nice run by Ohio there. It's tough to come down and play from the Midwest. There's your B champs. Move on to the C division. It looks like Georgia over New York. Georgia team. Women's C, Utah over Northern California. A lot of teams in that one. There's your Utah champs. In the D, men's D division, Northern California, that was the previous week. They beat Georgia. Some good games there. You can see those on. There's the Northern California D team. Then we got women's D, which was this past weekend, Arizona over Nevada. Arizona there. Arizona. And the big division, men's E, Florida over Arkansas. 50-plus teams. There's your Florida Central champ. I just wanted to note, Tyler Irvine, Josh Riley, Everett Williams, Kyle Pearson, long Bombers of the Week candidates. They hit some creatures. And this guy, Hunter LeMay from Tennessee, put a show on for the crowd. He was a favorite, and really did a nice job off the bench for Tennessee with the extra base hits. That's all I got, Dave.
Nice. Well, congratulations to all those who went, that ended up winning the divisions. We got one individual from our winning division here. We got a couple. We got first, second, third, all represented here. So we're going to go around the panel just a little bit, talk about the weekend, see how everybody went with everything. First and foremost, Zirkle here. Florida team, you finished third, 5-2 on the weekend, 2-0 in pool play. Ended up taking a loss to Ohio late, and then lost out to Louisiana, Mississippi. Just give us a talk through your weekend. How were you disappointed with how the team finished? Because, y'all are coming in as a pretty heavy favorite. Is it something you're kind of disappointed with, expected? Give us your thoughts on the weekend.
Well, I think we went into it, hoping that we would perform a little better, but it is January, and softball. Anybody can beat anybody on any given day, and I think that showed. Ohio just base hit us to death. We made some costly mistakes in the field, and we just didn't have clutch hitting like everyone on that roster is typically accustomed to. I think if everybody performs up to their expectations, we walk away with that tournament, but it just didn't happen. Credit Dombrowski, and credit the pitcher from your Louisiana team, Randy. He pitched. Those guys pitched great against us. They kept us off balance, got our guys to fly out. More times than I think we only hit 2 homers in the last game we had there at 8 a.m. on Sunday, and I think both of them were from Yates. So. I credit those guys. Obviously, I would have loved to win, but being from Illinois and moving to Florida, it was just an awesome atmosphere. This was the first time I had been at this event, so I had never gotten the privilege of playing in it, being from Illinois, and moving down here in July to Florida and getting put on this team was awesome. So I was super excited. My wife came; she had a blast. She jokes about it. This is the first time I got to see the stadium in 2 years. Playing last year with Anarchy, we never got to see the stadium, so we're back on it this year. But no, it was a great time. I had a blast. Injury free through the weekend, and we'll be back at it come Vegas.
Yeah, I know that's definitely one thing we all want to get through these weekends, injury free, especially in the off season. It's a fantastic thing there. I'm glad to see that you got a chance to experience the event. Illinois doesn't really, it's not that you don't have major level talent there. It's just, you might not have a full squad to get there. So moving on to our folks that finished, I believe, second, that would be Randy Frederick here with Louisiana, Mississippi. Y'all also were 7-2 on the weekend, 2-0 in pool play. You ended up losing a game about midway through to Florida. looks like maybe the offense didn't really get clicking in that game, and then you lost out to Ohio there late. Nobody at last week's hit and sit was really saying, hey, Louisiana is going to make a big run here. I don't remember. So you're kind of a Cinderella story for the weekend. Talk us through that a little bit. Was it just that your guys got really hot, or did we just kind of underestimate how good y'all were going into this tournament?
No, I wouldn't. I mean, on the paper, probably not say we were a top-tier team. But, I mean, we do have KP. We have a veteran of Buckshot coaching us, so he knows the game pretty well. Zane's a leader. So we have a small tier of upper players, not the big names yet, but I feel like in a couple of years may get there. But yeah, I mean, we had 18 people, maybe 17, and by Sunday we kind of went down. We had people had to leave and stuff like that, but Saturday and Friday we used absolutely everybody. So a lot of teams coming in hits from the people on the bench that didn't start. Pitching with just team hitting. Actually, some of us played with each other before, some of us hasn't. So it all kind of together, and we made a good run.
Hey, Randy, what can you tell us about the pitcher? Was it Ladner? Caleb Ladner?
Has no fear.
Yeah.
He pitched for us for Nightmare a couple years ago, and then he's with Dirty Vegas, but absolutely has no fear. He's not scared of nobody. He'll pitch against the biggest of the people. I mean, he went straight up with Florida. So,
I don't think we got him.
Yeah, and he hits, so that helps too. So he knows the game. I mean, he knows how to pitch. He knows how to keep you off balance and stuff like that. And like I said, with Buckshot in his back pocket, it's always great.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it never hurts to have a good veteran pitcher like the Buckshots, the Andys, those folks back there. Even if they're not on the mound, they still influence some of the game because they just know how to work batters. They've been there, they've done that. Moving on to our champion of the weekend. I believe this is like 4 or 5 straight tournament wins in a row for you. Josh Kirsten here from Ohio. I believe that, I don't know if this one quite matches the Major World Series, but it's still a really good win. Y'all went 7-0 on the weekend, 2-0 in pool play, went through everyone else. I didn't get to see a lot of your games. I did get to see the one with Florida where Biscuit was pitching an absolute gem. It was a little bit of a surprise. You did not tie anyone, so I know you're shocked by that. But realistically, you guys, it didn't look like you were challenged really much all weekend, but how were y'all guys able to put all this together and from going from cold to warm, and just how did you get it all done?
Yeah, it was a miracle, honestly. So I'm not sure how we didn't tie someone. I don't know what happened. I think we all blacked out and kind of woke up on Sunday after the championship to somebody telling us that we won. So no, it was a great weekend. Everyone was clicking. We had a ton of fun as a group. I tell you, we had a collection of guys that just we were getting along really well. We kept everything super lighthearted. And then but guys wanted to compete. And I think at the end of the day, especially with these tournaments, when you're playing with guys that you're not as familiar with, being able to just have fun, get out there, compete, and put some stuff together. And then with Biscuit pitching as well as he did, man, it was fun to watch. It was Biscuit of old for sure. I've faced him over the years quite a bit, and I know how good he can be. And he got back to that and was pitching phenomenally. He was hitting when we needed him to hit. He did a great job. It was awesome to watch. So, yeah, it's just one of those. I mean, it was just one of those weekends where things were clicking for us, and it worked out in our favor. But honestly, huge shout out to a few teams because New Mexico, watching New Mexico play, we talked about this on the last week's show. They didn't have anybody like big names except for Honeycutt, but they absolutely grinded and they absolutely went to war every single game, and it was a lot of fun to watch. If I'm a conference sponsor or coach, take a look at that roster. Find some of those guys because some of those guys deserve a shot if they're not already on a roster. They did a phenomenal job. Tennessee, same with Tennessee. I mentioned that they would be trouble in bracket play last week, but they did a phenomenal job too playing together. And I think I don't know that I gave them enough credit, even though I gave them some. Bryce Randolph, great shortstop. That guy is. I think he's kind of underrated in the conference as it goes. Really steady, strong ball player. Obviously, you got Marshburn and some other good players. I think it was is it Chubbs that's in center field, did a great job running the ball down. It was just overall they looked really good, and they were fun to compete against and watch play as well. But we got lucky against Florida. I think a few things went our way in regards to Biscuit pitching a phenomenal game. They didn't really capitalize in hitting offensively like we expect them to. We capitalized on some of their defensive mistakes, and so that's just one of those games that, you know, when those things happen, it's tough to come back from. But and I don't think we saw their best that game.
Makes sense. I know that the game that I did get to watch with y'all play, and I saw there was a little miscue there on a kind of a routine infield pop-up between, I believe it was Lewis and Emerson. Zirkle, were you close enough to kind of hear what was going on there?
Zirk, you're muted.
Zirk, you're muted.
We good?
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, my bad. No, I think they were talking Spanish. I couldn't understand them. I think what had happened was Louis was underneath the ball. Emerson called him off. And Louis, I mean, I'm pretty sure they were looking at each other when the ball dropped, which is kind of unique. I don't know. I'd rather them, you know, I tell my kids, we coach, I'd rather you two run into each other than you both back off. But it is what it is. They're both very good defensive players, so that's very something you don't typically see out of those two. But it's
Brian. Brian, I think they scored Ohio scored 9 runs, including a grand slam after that third out fell. So obviously an unbelievable turning point in the winner's bracket final. But Marquez did win that one game, or was that a pool play game where he made that play at the end of the game?
No, he came in as a seventh inning defensive substitute, and he made a diving stab. I mean, a great play, backhand dive, popped to his knees, threw him out. Yeah, ended the game for us, and that was in that. What game that was in? I think that was in a 1-run game that we had.
It was the Tennessee game.
Tennessee.
Okay, so it was the pool play game. Yeah, that game was awesome. I mean, we were down 17 runs, I think, going into the last inning, and put up a 19 spot. So that was pretty cool out of us. That was, I think, the one good inning we put together that weekend where, you know, kind of all the guys with their names on the bat showed why they got their names on the bat. So that was a lot of fun, man. That Tennessee team was fun to watch. They whacked it. They played D. They hustled.
Yep, and that's the one thing. Obviously, I wasn't there. I had some basketball and baseball coaching commitments, so I kind of got to watch more USSSA live rather than actually experience it firsthand. But I did see a lot of like Josh was talking about, the really gritty play from the New Mexico team. Tennessee, it seemed like if the ball was hit on the ground, you were probably going back to the dugout. So I mean, it was really impressive to watch. We were talking about a little bit pre-show about maybe one change you might want to see from the Challenge Cup, right? Personal opinion from what I was seeing, I feel like maybe the stadium ball is just a little bit too much ball in the offseason this early. But how about I'll address kind of one thing that you might suggest would be a good change for the Challenge Cup moving forward. We'll start with Randy. Randy, what's one thing that you might want to see different out of the Challenge Cup moving forward?
If they're really going to change the box rule, they kind of explained it to us in one game, and then one game it wasn't. I guess I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna work. It's gonna hurt a bunch of people, I think, with their getting ready and stuff. But I wouldn't like to see it because I got a routine that I like to do, but it's gonna cut it down. But other than that,
It's a 15-second rule, correct? You got 15 seconds to get in the ball, or 10 seconds?
We'll segue to that in just a second. I should have left Randy for last because that would be a perfect segue. But we'll go over that in just a second. So Kirsten, what is one change that you'd like to see?
Yeah, if we're gonna, we talked about a few things, but if we're gonna continue to do in the pool play, which I have no issues with, let's just reseed the entire tournament after pool play. So whether you want to use total runs scored, run differential to do that seeding, however they want to do it, I think that'd be interesting. It would be, listen, it might not, it wouldn't favor or could not favor the top seeds of in pool play when you're talking about Florida and Texas and Kentucky and what have you. Because maybe you see a Florida-Texas game in round one of bracket, right? Or, Kentucky, Ohio, or something like that. So, which we met in the second round anyway. So, I think that would kind of liven things up a little bit because right now it's just, it's set to Florida and Texas being opposite sides of the bracket, and they're going to see each other in the championship, the winter bracket final, as long as they win through. But we've had, the only reason I say that is we've had this Challenge Cup for 5 years, and we've had a new winner every year. So yes, on paper, we've got, Florida and Texas, we've got some dominant teams on paper, but I think it's shown that every year that softball, true nature of softball comes to fruition, and anyone can win on any given weekend. And so why not mix it up a little bit, keep things interesting? Yep,
I do agree with that 100%. I think the parity of slow pitch softball has gotten dramatically closer than when I first started. But Zirkle, what's the one thing you might want to see different?
I would, we talked about it a little bit earlier. I would like to see the championship done on Saturday night. I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to the McQuaid's softball tournament, but that is a ASA tournament run out in the Midwest. And every year at the end of on that Sunday, they have every single champion get onto the field, and they announce everybody. This Challenge Cup was so much bigger than just this major division. The lower divisions, I saw some of the posts that Stroh made, Don Cooper made, and some things like that of schools watching their teachers play, in the women's division, and just some really neat things. So it's a lot bigger than just, for us it's softball. We play softball, 13, 14 weekends of the year, and for everyone else, the Challenge Cup was like an Olympics of the United States of softball, which was kind of neat, and Stroh's vision for this. So I think it would be really neat, kind of have everything finish up on that Saturday night, where everyone from the B, C, the D, whatever is there that weekend, gets called out onto that field after Ohio wins that championship, and kind of everybody gets a little celebration ceremony type thing. It's just a really neat atmosphere that it could be. You guys playing on that Sunday. I know we played at 8 a.m. Sunday morning. There was no one in the stands, and I don't know how many showed up for your game, but Saturday night was packed. There were teams there that had been eliminated, having some beers, having a good time. So I think doing that, finishing it on Saturday night like they do the major, would be a really good thing.
There was a record-breaking 6 people for Championship Sunday.
Yeah, I bet.
So you're saying you want to try to see a little bit more of that old school Disney feel, where everybody funneled by the stadium, get everybody in there watching the game
all day. Give them a reason to show up and watch these guys. Everybody talks about us and how they could do it and they could do this, and then come watch it. Come watch these guys do what they do. We talked on this show about pitchers. You talk to an average DE ball player, and they're like, pitcher, ball's coming underhand. What do you mean? There's no way a pitcher could change a game. You get to this major level, these pitchers are getting the best hitters in the world to miss hit balls. That's a big deal. So a lot of people just don't get it. I think getting them all there to see it in person, to see a Dombrowski ball wiggle in the wind, and things like that, or see a curveball that you think's going to hit you, end up in the opposite side of the batter's box for a strike. So.
Oh yeah. Yep. I'm a little biased on that statement, so I totally agree. I like that one. So Dale, I know that you get to see more of this as a third party view. Is there anything that you kind of see as a change you'd like to see happen for the Challenge Cup?
Yeah, I like the stadium ball for the big fields. I think the run rules and in pool play, you have the time limit, takes care of games that go too far. I like the championship idea on Saturday night. Maybe you try to get all those championships done by 8, and then funnel everyone into the stadium for a 9:30 men's major championship game. Maybe one free beer with entry or something. Maybe pack that place for one time during the whole year would be awesome. I don't really have any other. I like the use of the safety bag this week. I think it was optional, right, guys? Optional to use. You don't know? It was just there. But yeah, that's about all I got on that.
Yeah, speaking of an individual who, ended up kind of tearing a ligament whenever I was running toward a bag, I think that the safety bag would be a great thing. But moving forward onto something there that Randy was talking about, like I said, I should have waited a second to let him segue me, but the batter's box rule. There is a little bit of difference between what it was previously. Zirkle was pretty close to right there, that 15 seconds. It's more enforced at the lower level. An umpire can say, hey, get in the box. They start counting. At 10 seconds, it's a strike. We got a strike. We got a strike. Same thing with a pitcher. The pitcher doesn't release the ball, which after 5 seconds, it's a ball. The difference, at least from my understanding of the rule, is that now, once you get in the box for your very first time of your at-bat, you are no longer allowed to leave the box. If you leave the box for any reason outside of your coach or manager calling time, it should be an automatic strike called on the batter. Now, like Randy was saying, that could be something that completely changes some folks' approaches. Maybe like the Jeff Floods of the world when they're coming back. His routine might be a little bit different getting into the box. But how do each of you feel about that? Is it something that's going to affect you? Do you think it's going to really change the outcome of the game? We're going to go to DW first on that one.
Yeah, if you could share my screen, I have the rule up. So you do have 10 seconds. Once the pitcher has the ball and is ready and the umpire says play ball, you have 10 seconds to do your routine and get in the box. So these first two paragraphs on here are basically saying that you have 10 seconds. The third paragraph saying you must keep at least 1 foot in the batter's box throughout the entire at bat. You can't step in and out of the box after strike 1 or 2 balls. You can't step out. You can't delay for any reason. Now, this next page explains the only times you can get out of the box is this page here. If the ball's, you fouling off, you're forced, you move your feet because the pitch is coming at you. You can step out. A wild pitch, so a pitch that gets past the catcher, that kind of takes away the momentum of the at-bat, you can step out. When an appeal play or in the judgment of the umpire's weather, maybe it's raining and it's muddy, they might let you get away with it. And then when time is called, but this is not the batter calling time, this is either the umpire or the manager, defensive manager, to have a meeting at the mound. So yeah, the batter can't call time at all. The last slide here, it says the penalty, which is the ball is dead. The umpire may warn the batter, can call strike, and any number of warnings and called strikes can be made with each batter. So they could strike you out if you do it twice.
So long story short there.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a lot of gray in this.
Yes, long story short there, it could be up to each and every individual umpire on how aggressive they want to be onto this particular rule. But, let's start with Zirkle. Zirkle, I know, having pitched to you for years now, if I get you to a 3-1 count or a 2-0 count, you're going to call time, step out, do your thing. How is this going to affect you? Do you see any change? Do you feel like it's going to speed the game up?
Hopefully it speeds the game up. But I say the one thing it does change is I like to step out of the box to take a look at the defense. I like to see where the defense positioning themselves, where the 5-man is, where the center fielder is opposite the 5-man, whether they're playing me, 5-6 hole, things like that. So I don't think it necessarily changes it. I think as long as you can, it's like a Little League rule. It's the rule they made in Little League. You have to keep 1 foot in the box. You can step out, but you have to keep 1 foot in the box. I just think that they're going to have to be very consistent with it. That special treatment that us, the bigger guys get, certain players, they're in our game against Randy there in Louisiana, I know KP got a called strike and literally, threw his hands up, walked back halfway to the dugout, and us joking around because it hadn't been called all weekend, started yelling, "He's out! Yeah, he three, strike three!" So that's essentially what the rule is. It's just how are they going to enforce it? When are they going to enforce it? Don't enforce it on all the lower conference teams and give us major teams a pass. It's got to be something that's consistent across the board, and that's something Slim's going to probably have to make sure that he communicates with his umpires and they stay on top of it. Either that or nix it by the time they get to the Smoky. The only thing I like about it is I don't like when the player gets in the box and they do that Andrew Collins as soon as the pitcher's getting ready to pitch time, and then they hop out. That's a little different. So getting rid of that thing, I'm all for it.
Yep, I completely agree. I think I see your point there, Josh. I know from having watched, I haven't really had to pitch against you too often, but having watched your at bats several times, I don't think this is going to necessarily affect you too much. But how do you think that this is going to affect other folks? Are you looking for it on defense? Are you like doing what Zirkle says, pointing it out as soon as it happens?
Yeah. No, I mean, see, it doesn't bother me one way or the other whether somebody takes a. Like if somebody's consistent enough, I mean, there has happened before where they call timeout after every pitch, which that is quite annoying. But it's the initial getting in the box is the thing that I think takes the longest, and it doesn't read to me that this is in the initial. This would be the subsequent pitches after the initial. And so, I don't think we have much. To my knowledge base and to my recollection, not a ton of issue there. I'm not a guy that calls timeout a lot while we're in during an at bat, but some guys like to. It is what it is. I think you can do that. You just have to keep at least 1 foot in the box. Right. And so you can't go walk down halfway through, wherever. So that's perfectly fine with me. And like Zirkle said, if it speeds the game up a little bit, great. But also, again, consistency, as Zirk said, like if umpires are going to call it, let's all call it. Right. And if you're going to call it, let's all be on the same page of how you're calling it, because we have too many rules in this damn game that are subject to how they interpret the rule. No. BS, man. Like, be on the same page. A rule's a rule. Everyone call it the same way, and I have no issues with it.
Yep, totally agree. I know that's something that we see. We've seen it more at some of these smaller events, things like that, where the normal conference umpires aren't all there. You get the local guy. They don't know that you need to enforce XYZ rule as much as you do other rules. And it kind of changes the outcome of the game a little bit. As soon as you get used to it, it's like, okay, whatever. But it kind of can affect you to begin the game. And this is exactly what we're talking about. If you call it from the beginning, it's okay all the way through the end. Just call it from the beginning. Now, Randy, I know you said earlier that you have a little routine that you like to do. Is this rule going to affect that routine? Are you going to sit at home in front of the mirror and kind of like adjust what you're doing? Or how's that going to affect you?
No. I have a routine to get into the box initially before the first pitch. Not necessarily. I'll get out the box if like a bad pitch is called a strike or something like that. I'll step out and regroup. But I didn't really know the rules. It was a lady umpire trying to initiate a rule in a pool play game, so I didn't really get all the hearsay things. But like Zirk said, it's been in Little League 1 foot in the box. So I can keep 1 foot in the box and recoup if I find a bad strike was called on me. So it's not a big old deal. But other than that, if they're going to imply it, they need to talk about it at the first meeting before the game. Say, hey, look, I'm implying this rule, and we're going to go with it. Don't let us not know about it, and then we get in the box and they call it, and then they didn't even give us a heads up that they're calling it. That's what I would think. But like I said,
I could see a warning, 1 team warning per team.
Yeah.
You get your 1 warning, that's your team warning, similar to, a basketball rule or something like that. Give each team a warning. And then after that first warning, it is what it is.
Oh, yeah. Figure it out. The egregious, like you're talking about the KP stepping out of the box, going back toward the dugout. Like, all right, guys, this is a new rule. Like, come on, let's make sure this happens. And then after that, we're going to call it. I totally agree. Can definitely see that. I think, guys, this is pretty much everything that we've kind of really went over for the day. I think it's about every topic we really had to address. We're still in the off season, so unfortunately there's not a whole lot to talk about outside of roster speculation and stuff like that. And that's a whole other rabbit hole. So I think we're going to end up, kind of closing off today's show. We're going to go with some passing thoughts here, final thoughts type thing. Randy, of course, thank you for joining us. I know it was very last minute. Do you have anything that you kind of want to give us there at the end? Any final thoughts?
No, Kirsten, congrats on winning it. I feel like maybe we would have gave you a better shot with all our team. But at the end, everybody's hurting, man. Like you said, it's all season. And we gave it all we had against Zirkle and them. We gave it all we had. I know it was a rematch. They kind of got the best of us in the winter bracket semis. But like I said, my pitcher, Caleb, he's always going to go balls to the wall for us, and he's going to pitch. He's not scared. But other than that, I had a great time. It was we quadrupled our wins for the last 3 times we went in this one tournament, so that was new. But yeah, I had fun. It was a great experience.
Great to hear. Great to hear. I'm glad that you got a chance to experience it. And then as far as the pitcher thing there, that is one thing for all you young pitchers watching this. If you want to pitch, you got to be kind of stupid. You're standing up there. A lot of people hitting the ball pretty hard at you. Be fearless, be stupid. It works. Zirkle, congratulations. I know this is the first time I've really got a chance to speak to you since the A-World. Congratulations on your A-World championship. Still a little salty about it, but congratulations. Do you have any final thoughts on today or the Challenge Cup, anything like that?
I just want to thank you guys for having me on. Congrats to Ohio. Kicking some butt, and you guys did that without Big John too. Big John left to have a baby girl, so congrats to Big John, Jigs. That's awesome. So I just want to say, I look forward to the 2023 season. I think every year conference softball gets better and better. This is my it's crazy. This is my 14th year in the conference. So I think every year the media gets better. DW, man, from the beginning to the end, this is incredible to have podcasts and things like this, to have the live feed. We've got people all over the country and the world can watch our games if they want, which is super awesome. So props to U-Trip for what they're doing and continue to do. I want to give a shout out to Anarchy and my family for allowing me what to do. And we'll see you guys all in 2023. So I'll be with Competitive Edge and having some fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. 14 years in the conference. Yeah. So that's if you're running center field at 14 years, you're still 500 miles behind your wife's pace. But
yeah, you're not even close to her pace. She ran another 10 miles this morning while I'm sleeping. So
goodness gracious.
Yeah, she's on it. She always tells me, you can run with me to get in shape. And I say, it's a different kind of shape. I don't want to run unless I have to run.
Absolutely. Well, and Josh, man, congratulations. 2 really big victories back to back there. I know one of them's a little bit more exciting than the other, I believe, at least in my eyes. But congratulations on the major. Congratulations on the Challenge Cup. Any final thoughts for today?
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Shout out to Louisiana for beating, if I'm not mistaken, both Florida and Texas, knocking them both out of the tournament, which is extremely impressive. I didn't think going to the championship that it was going to go that way. I thought we were going to have a really tight game. Again, just part of the game being that way, but very talented team. A lot of really good ball players on that team. I like watching a lot of their games. And so great for them. I'm glad they were able to go out and compete and, come damn close. But shout out to Isaiah Warlow Ike. He doesn't get enough credit, and that guy absolutely murdered it for us all weekend long. He played third base and was a lockdown third base. Killed it with the bat. Just super, super impressed by him. Great teammate. I do believe he's on a conference roster this year. I think it's Rebel Straight Play, if I'm not mistaken. But if any AA teams get a chance to take a look at him, please do so, because that guy's the real deal. Kyle Fisher did an amazing job up the middle. I could probably say some great things all over, but it was fun. It was a ton of fun. I really enjoy this event, and like I said, the parity over the last 5 years have made it a lot of fun to participate and watch. we had an absolute blast seeing everybody there and competing against guys that I don't normally compete against, the Bill Pinkhams, the JoJos, right, that I'm usually playing with. It's really cool. It was a ton of fun. But I love the event. I know some guys, some people are, it's just another off-season event, but I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's a really cool concept. And hopefully we don't go back to our tying ways next year.
Hopefully that is correct, and hopefully next year I get to end up seeing you on out there playing against us. We'll address that a little bit in the off season. But let's see here. So DW, do you have any final thoughts before we close it up?
Yeah, I just thought, I think in Vegas with the in the box, out of the box rule, you're going to see a lot of warnings, and then they'll start maybe down to one warning per team, like you guys mentioned, I think eventually, and then maybe no warnings by midsummer, who knows. Want to razz Zirkle a little bit. Congratulations on the A World, but I think you might have dropped a basket catch this weekend.
Oh,
I did. I had it was an 8 a.m. game. I had heavy, flat feet. I felt like a bobblehead running, and that ball hit me right in the wrist.
Yeah.
First one I've dropped in. So
and also
yes, I did.
And also, you went major, double A, won the championship, A, won the championship. Now you're back to major.
Back to major.
Winning the championship would be a phenomenal 3 years there, 3-4 years.
That is the goal. That is the goal. And then I can go whack that 40+ senior bat.
Yeah. And Randy, I want to say thanks for coming at the last second. I did a few of your games in the booth because I couldn't find anyone to announce. And you, Miguez, and Logan Rogers, you guys look like brothers, like triplets. Like, it's hard to tell. You got to go by like the wristbands and stuff to see who, because your numbers were black on blue or something.
Yeah.
You couldn't really see the numbers from the second story up there. But yeah, you guys look like twins. Kirsten, congratulations. I'm from Ohio, so it was great to see. Did you guys, someone said Ohio had never won a game in the men's major. That's got to be false.
We had never won a pool play game in the men's major.
Okay, that's what they said. But to do it, Wegman retired. He was from Ohio. Big John had to go home. Kylie had the baby. Congratulations to them. And no Steve Edwards as well, and no Buddy Wolf. So, like, 4 of the bigger names in Ohio weren't even there. And, you guys stepped up. You played the most consistent in every phase of the game. So it was fun to see. Yeah, that's all I got. Condensed games coming out. The report is coming out. My problem is I take too much content during the weekends. I just keep taking more and more, and then it takes longer to get it out. And then I'm doing a show like this, which kind of eats into my time. But thanks, everyone, for tuning in.
Well, we greatly appreciate all that you do, DW, because without a lot of what you do and what Eric and Bernie and all those folks do, we wouldn't have the coverage we have. So it's always a fantastic thing. We really appreciate everything that you do. But wrapping it up here, my name is David. Obviously, I'm replacing other David from Siteman Pure. Funny, one David from Siteman goes to another David from Siteman. But I appreciate you all for joining in with us here. My first time with Hit and Sit as far as hosting. We thank you for joining. This was Hit and Sit number 23 for the USSSA, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. Great job, Dave.
Peace.